consider 3 buildings.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to interject here in regards to this, permits that are coming up. This is on appeal to the, Circuit Court of Appeal. This, what Mr. Kevin Howard was charged with. And me being in law enforcement over 30-some years, been around judges, attorneys, don't claim myself to be no attorney, but I do have some common sense. We don't need to be bringing this up because it's on appeal. So what we do here, matter of fact, what we do here don't have anything to do with it. It have to go to Nashville first. And after talking to the city attorney, which we pay a city attorney every month, $1,500 every month, but not to be here. I never seen that before. I wish I could get a job like that. But anyway, after talking to the city attorney, I see why he don't come, because he don't be informed on whether to be here or not. Chip said he didn't know nothing about this coming up. Why we didn't call the city attorney, for one thing, is baffling to me. But again, he advised us not to touch it. That's from the city attorney. And I knew that. And that's why I called to verify. So, this appeal is going through appeal process. Let's wait and let it go through the course, through the court system before we jump the gun. So with that being said, I make a motion that we don't take up Mr. Kevin Howard's appeal until it go through the court system.
That's a motion.
I have a motion and a second to the motion. A question I'd like to make, I'd like to make a statement. Basically, what we're doing tonight has nothing to do with the lawsuit. It has simply, and I think I'm correct, Mr. Howell's attorney could address this, but he has requested a permit in the past and was not granted a permit. Under our city code, and according to the statement Mr. Ferris made in the paper, he said he didn't get a building permit from me. I couldn't issue him one because he didn't have a contractor's license. And he had not got a certificate of appropriateness from the Historical Zoning Commission. So evidently he'd been denied a permit. I think it's prudent upon the city, since we just talked about finances for the city, we've got a substantial amount of revenue that's going to be lost if we stop it due to the fact that we're not letting the legal end of it go forward. Now, granted, it could be on appeal. What we're dealing with here now is a building certificate. It's already been determined, state law, it's in there that they charge him with being engaged in contracting without a license as a contractor. And that court issue basically said that that's what he won his judgment on, and I think I'm correct, is that the building owner is not a contractor. So I think it would behoove us to listen to the man's statement as to where he stands. From the city standpoint, we've got probably $500,000 worth of property over there. At completed, the tax money will be generated into the city. As it stands now, under reappraisal, I think he bought the property for less than $100,000. It's going to be appraised $100,000. Uptown there, same way with the businesses up there. They can't be completed, they have no tax basis. Plus it's businesses lost, tax revenue that's generated. And it's two sides of this thing. You know, we have an attorney who's expressed his attitude and opinion about this. He's been negative about it all the way. I don't know what his problem is, but I asked to talk to him yesterday, and he left without speaking to me about it.
Who is that?
Chip Carey. I asked to address him yesterday.
That's not city attorney, Mr. Mayor. You need to fire him. He don't want to talk to you.
But anyhow,
Mayor,
we have a motion on the floor.
may I say something? Since we're not understanding this, it appears that we don't understand exactly what's going on. We need Chip in on this. Because we may be as long as the individual didn't have a contract for over $25,000, he was safe as far as a license was concerned. Now, I'm mixed up, I don't know. We got him still in court, and then we're trying to make a decision based on the information that it appears that we don't know what we're talking about. So I would recommend, if you don't mind, I'd recommend that we have the city council to go over this based on having our attorney here, so he can tell us what we should do and what we shouldn't do. Because now I'm mixed up.
Can I say something? Let me,
I'm finished.
okay, let me say that I understand what's going on. Don't put me in, because I definitely understand what's going on. So I definitely know what's going on. And being, like I said, being in law enforcement, but addressing you, Mr. Mayor, if he was not given a permit a while back before he went to court, he should have came then and appealed it. You don't appeal it after it's done been to court. You know, you appeal it once it be denied. If it was denied back then, as you said back then, he should have came back then and appealed. But to let it go through the courts and then it had been appealed, it's out of our hands. I'm telling you now. Because if we discuss it, I'm getting up and walking out. Because I'm telling you, if it comes back to this court, each and every one of us is subject to be subpoenaed on what we do tonight. We subject to be subpoenaed. And I talked to Chip. I'm here to tell you that Chip stated that we don't need to discuss it, Mr. Petro. That's why I brought it up.
I understand, but
So I've made the motion.
Do you recommend going against the judge's order?
It's an appeal. The
I
court,
understand that it's under appeal.
Criminal Court of Appeal. You don't, Criminal Court of Appeal could deny what Mr. McGraw. Mr. McGraw don't have the last say. The state Supreme Court have the last say in any legal matter. The state Supreme Court, not the General Session. They have their opinion. Criminal Court have their opinion. Criminal Court of Appeal have their opinion. But the last say is the Supreme Court.
Well, what you're
If
saying,
you don't know that, I thought I'd let you know.
He's here to present his side. He has his attorney here. And I think it would be,
Well, Mr. Mayor, I done made a motion, we done made a second, so I think we need to first vote on that before we can say anything. We need to
question,
make a vote.
I'm still speaking to the question. I still think that they're here, they're prepared to give us some information, which we so sorely need. You know, you've heard, you talked to the city attorney, and lawsuits work two ways. And I know you know more about legal stuff than I do. But anyhow, we have some pecuniary liability if we're wrong in this category. We have postponed, we've stopped a man from doing $1,000 worth of work, cost him $1,000 to carry this through court. Now, whether we're right or wrong, that'll be determined by the courts. But I think it's would be proper for us to hear what they presented. Evidently, they wanted it one level, and I think it would be wise for us to listen to see what their side
Well,
is.
the Robert's Rules of Order that we need to address my emotion first before you can go anywhere else.
There's still any question, any other question?
Well,
Okay, one person has heard what our attorney said. It's 7 more of us.
well, put them on,
Larry,
call,
may I finish?
well, I don't lie, Mr. Petrie.
No,
I have no reason to lie,
lying.
okay? Well, that's what
No,
you're saying.
No, here's what I'm saying, if you would listen, maybe you would understand what I'm saying. Now, you have talked to the attorney, you say. The attorney owes us an explanation, the whole council an explanation. If he told you that, he ought to tell all of us that.
Well, you should have called him.
No, I really didn't have to call him.
You should call him. Yeah, he should be here, he should be
Right,
here.
that's what I'm saying.
Every meeting, not just this.
But since he said that, then we all ought to hear what he's saying.
Who?
The rest of the,
Oh, okay.
I'm not talking about you were wrong.
Oh.
What I'm saying is, Chip ought to come tell us,
I agree.
all of us.
And I agree, Mr. Petrell, that's why I made that motion, so
Well,
that's why I want the
That's the
motion.
reason I
right.
brought it out.
Okay, I made that
I
motion,
wasn't
so I
saying
called
you
for
were
the question.
lying, I was just saying Chip need to talk to all of us, tell all of us that.
I called for the
Well,
question. So,
I mean, I think
I'm
that I think we need the information. I think we need the information from Chip and, to see what's going on. I don't think we need to make a, personally, think we need to make a decision until we, have heard everything. I'm not against your motion. I just think that we need to have legal matter from Chip here, to advise us and all. I think that's, at this time, I think we need to at least postpone it if we don't do anything else. But I mean, of course, your question.
Well, I mean, that's postponing it until Chip or to go through the court system,
Right.
that's fine, I have no problem with that. But I think we don't need to be hearing it tonight without legal advice, legal attorney here, being here. And I don't know why the mayor of Sheila didn't call the city attorney knowing that we don't have this tonight.
I told you,
That's
I
baffling.
talked to him
That's
yesterday,
baffling too.
and he left, I asked, I said, I need to talk to you at this meeting, and he abruptly left.
Well, I call for the question, Mr. Master. I have a motion that we,
Have a motion on the floor.
take it up.
I want to show hands, please.
Can you state
We're
the
talking
motion
about
again?
pecuniary
State
liability.
the motion.
So we're gonna be clear.
I make a motion that we don't take up Mr. Cavanaugh's appeal tonight until we talk to the city attorney. That's fine. I go with the city attorney, because we might go through the city.
So I second that.
Okay.
All right, all those in favor, raise your right hand.